The Brahmin, who had triumphed over Nakula and Sahadeva with his remarkable words, spoke to them. To Nakula he said, "If you ever try to predict what will happen in the future, your head will be shattered into 1,000 pieces and you will die." To Sahadeva he said, "From this day forward the future will appear to you as nothing but a dream. Because you perceive the future as a dream, it will not be of much importance to you and you will not reveal it to anyone." Panduraja, who was watching from inside, saw this exchange near the door. Then he called out, "O Brahman," he continued, "you are elder to them. If my children pass away before you do, you must place their funeral pyres on your belly and cremate them." What did this statement mean? It implied that the Brahmin had to pass away with Panduraja's children if they passed away before him. In order for the Brahmin to live, he had to ensure the survival of Panduraja's children. Agreeing to this condition, the Brahmin began to leave. As he walked away, Panduraja called out firmly, "You have given me your word, Krishna. You will not break it." The Brahmin turned, smiled slightly, and walked away. This Brahmin was none other than Sri Krishna Vasudeva. From that moment on, the responsibility of protecting the Pandavas rested solely with Sri Krishna. Panduraja passed away. During his cremation, Madri turned to Kunti and said, "Take care of Nakula and Sahadeva as if they were your own children. I am either directly or indirectly to blame for our husband's passing. I don't deserve to live anymore." Saying this, she jumped into the pyre prepared for Panduraja's body and was reduced to ashes along with her husband. For Kunti Devi, the 5 Pandavas became her whole world, and for the Pandavas, their mother Kunti was their universe. As Kunti lived with the Pandavas in that humble hut in the forest, every direction she looked reminded her of the places where her husband had once lived. Every day, she was consumed by grief. She thought, "I cannot stay in this hut any longer. I cannot bear to see my sons, who are destined to live like kings, reduced to this forest life. It is my responsibility to see that they reclaim the throne that is rightfully theirs." With this resolve, she decided to leave for Hastinapura. Meanwhile, in Hastinapura, 16-year-old Duryodhana, though not officially crowned king, was full of hopes and dreams that he would soon ascend the throne. On the day the news arrived that Panduraja had taken renunciation, Dhritarashtra firmly declared, "From this day forth, the rulers of Hastinapura are none other than myself and my sons." Duryodhana, elated at the thought of being the future king, was basking in his joy when loud cheers erupted outside. Startled, he wondered, "Why is there so much noise outside?" He went out to see what was going on. Everywhere he looked, large crowds of people were gathered, shouting and clapping, not in pain, but in excitement. The people were cheering loudly. The former glory of Hastinapura is about to return. Confused and curious, Duryodhana looked into the distance. In the midst of the crowd stood a woman dressed in simple garments, exuding an aura of dignity. Behind her were 5 radiant, strikingly handsome young men whose presence seemed to illuminate their surroundings. They were none other than Kunti and the Pandavas. At that moment, Duryodhana felt as if his heart had been crushed. His legs trembled and he began to sweat profusely. Beads of sweat dripped from his forehead and he struggled to catch his breath. Until now, he had believed that Hastinapura and the throne belonged to him alone. But as he looked at them, he realized that they had come as rightful claimants to the throne. Overwhelmed with grief, anger, and fear, he sank heavily into the chair behind him. Friends, can you believe that reading just one fascinating story can change a person's life? Would you believe that simply reading this story to your children can teach them the values they need for life? Or that the solution to every problem you face now or in the future can be found in a single story? Yes, it's possible. And it's only possible through the greatest epic ever told in the history of mankind, the Mahabharata. This story is 100 times more compelling than any blockbuster movie. It's a challenge. The complete story of the Mahabharata, written in the words of Vikram Aditya, is available as a 2-part book in physical and e-book formats on Amazon and 43 other online stores. The book is available in 54 languages worldwide. Links are provided in the description below the video. Order it now. For this is not just a book, it's a library of wisdom for your life. The people of Hastinapura were overjoyed when they saw the Pandavas. Why was that? Because in the past, even though Dhritarashtra was the official king of Hastinapura before Panduraja's marriage, Panduraja was the only one who effectively managed the kingdom in the background. The inhabitants of the kingdom lived in harmony and contentment under Panduraja's reign. Therefore, the citizens were excited and hopeful that Panduraja's children would once again bring prosperity to Hastinapura. At the palace gates, Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Duryodhana, and his brothers welcomed the Pandavas with smiles. But in Duryodhana's heart, the seed of hatred was sown. While the Pandavas enjoyed their time in the palace, Duryodhana's jealousy and resentment began to grow. The Pandavas enjoyed their favorite foods and enjoyed every bite. There was always a smile on their faces, something Duryodhana could not tolerate. Of all the Pandavas, Duryodhana hated Bheema the most. Why was this? Because Bhishma was particularly fond of Bheema. Bheema, with his strong physique, lively personality and cheerful demeanor, was loved by everyone in the palace, and this infuriated Duryodhana to no end. Until then, no one had been able to defeat Duryodhana in wrestling. Confident in his abilities, Duryodhana publicly challenged Bheema to a wrestling match, intending to humiliate him in front of everyone. The crowd gathered to witness the duel. Everyone thought it was just a friendly contest for entertainment, but for Duryodhana, it was a chance to assert his dominance. Both Duryodhana and Bheema stepped into the ring, and all eyes were on them, wondering what would happen. Duryodhana taunted Bheema and said, "Bheema, no man has ever defeated me in wrestling. Today I'll finish you in a moment." But before Duryodhana could finish his sentence, he suddenly felt as if his head had been struck on the right and then on the left, as if he had been thrown into the air and brought down with tremendous force. Blood began to drip from his mouth. All this happened in a single moment. Duryodhana tried to remember what had happened. As he spoke, Bheema had quickly grabbed Duryodhana's legs, lifted him into the air, and thrown him to the ground. The next thing Duryodhana knew, he was lying on the ground. Everyone was amazed. They were in awe of Bheema's sheer strength and immediately became his admirers. Duryodhana, overwhelmed with humiliation, got up, moved aside and sat down on a chair with tears streaming down his face. Meanwhile, people gathered around Bheema, praising and celebrating him. No one approached Duryodhana. Why is everyone on Bheema's side? Is there no one on my side? He thought bitterly. Just then, he felt a hand gently touch his shoulder. It drew him close and embraced him. Do you know whose hand it was? It was Shakuni's. For years, Shakuni had waited for an opportunity to destroy Bhishma's family and kingdom. Now he had found it in the form of Duryodhana. Shakuni believed that to achieve his revenge, he would have to win not through brute force, but through cunning and strategy. The future of Hastinapura now depended on the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Shakuni realized that if conflict arose between these two factions, the kingdom would inevitably collapse on its own. The Pandavas were intelligent and sharp, and Shakuni knew that his manipulations would not work on them for long. Duryodhana, though intelligent, was impulsive, and impulsive people often lose their reason at critical moments. So Shakuni decided that Duryodhana was the perfect pawn for his plans. Although Shakuni inwardly supported the Pandavas and wished them victory, he remained loyal to Duryodhana. Only by staying close to Duryodhana could he orchestrate events to unfold as he wished. This is the peculiarity of the Mahabharata. Everyone believes that they are the ones who control the story, but in reality, the entire story is masterfully orchestrated by the divine playwright, Lord Krishna. The story of the Mahabharata revolves around the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Krishna appears as a mere guest in the narrative, but it is he who creates every twist and turn in the story. Shakuni took Duryodhana aside. Duryodhana, still seething with anger, said, "Uncle, we must do something about them. My anger hasn't subsided. Tell me what we should do. Let's talk to my father and find a way to wipe those smiles off their faces." Shakuni replied with a cunning smile, "Duryodhana, the first thing you must learn is this. When fate or the gods seem to grant us a power, it is not meant to be used hastily. It is to be used strategically, at the right moment. To hide what's really on your mind from others, to make sure no one suspects you, to pretend to be filled with love for everyone, and to make them trust you completely, words are your weapon. It is with these words that you must captivate everyone and bind them to your will. And when the time comes, you must take your revenge." With such sweet yet venomous words, Shakuni slowly and skillfully instilled hatred and cunning into Duryodhana's heart. Believing that his uncle was genuinely helping him, Duryodhana said, "Uncle, from now on you are my teacher. I trust you completely. I shall follow your instructions without question." Friends, the next episode will take things to a whole new level. Don't miss it. Let's meet again next Saturday at the same time. In the meantime, order my book on the Mahabharata right away. The links are in the description below this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do it now. Until then, take care. Bye.